Russian war correspondent Roma Sapozhnikov became suddenly shocked by the incredibly short time it takes for the so-called heroes of the special military operation to sign a contract and die. Just 8 days from signing to death, Roman complains. Just no comment. Again, speaking of personnel disposal. 8 days from the moment the contract was signed until death. On August 8, 2024, the man signed the contract. On August 16, 2024, he last contacted and went missing. We have strong Prigozhin vibes here. This Russian Marine addresses General Lopin because they don't have enough ammo to take a small village in Kursk. They are given only 6 magazines per person, which is not enough. He asks Lapin to provide more ammo or to talk the commander while they have still people alive.
The 177th Separate Marine Corps Regiment reporting. I am recording this video for Lapin Alexander Pavlovich. I really hope that it somehow reaches you, because the official channels have simply exhausted themselves. You surely see in your reports every day that we cannot drive the enemy out of Kurilovka. And there, for example, in the last 4 days, we have not even been able to evacuate the bodies of any of our wounded. And perhaps the main reason, there are several, but perhaps the main one is that we have very big problems with ammunition. We receive a maximum of 6 to 7 magazines per person when we go on the assaults. And you yourself understand that this is simply not enough to dislodge the enemy from his position and then hold it. And when under these conditions our regimental commander Kalmykov Sergei Alexandrovich demands new assaults from the battalion commanders, it simply makes no sense. We really hope for your intervention, please. Either help us with ammunition or somehow restrain Sergei Alexandrovich. While we still have some remnants of fighting spirit, we very, very much hope for your intervention.
The Mad Max-style vehicles that Russians are using in occupied territories of Ukraine clearly show this war should have ended long time ago and is now being fought by depleted Russia just for the sake of fighting. They thought it wouldn't reach them. Due to mounting armor losses, Russian forces are increasingly resorting to improvised vehicles, such as repurposed civilian trucks with makeshift armor, outdated Soviet-era transports, and even hastily modified tractors, highlighting their growing desperation on the battlefield. In the Siversky Donets-Donbass Canal in Chasiv Yar, the enemy's life is in full swing. The occupiers are transferring provisions and ammunition, sleeping, and receiving medical treatment. But the fighters of the Raro Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 24th Separate Mechanized Brigade see everything. In recent developments around Chasiv Yar, Russian forces have intensified their efforts to overcome the natural barrier posed by the Siversky Donets-Donbass Canal. This canal, running through the eastern part of the city, has historically served as a significant defensive line for Ukrainian troops. To facilitate their advance, Russian troops have reportedly detonated sections of the canal's pipes near Chasiv Yar, aiming to create passages for armored vehicles and expedite their offensive operations. Additionally, Russian units have been utilizing the canal's infrastructure, such as its pipes, to conceal troop movements, especially during periods of low visibility like morning fog. This tactic allows them to amass forces discreetly and attempt surprise breakthroughs into Ukrainian-held territories. The strategic significance of Chasiv Yar is underscored by its elevated terrain, which offers a defensible position and serves as a gateway to key cities in the Donetsk region, including Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. The canal itself has been a formidable obstacle, complicating Russian advances and providing Ukrainian forces with a natural defensive advantage. Despite these challenges, Russian troops have made incremental gains, capturing parts of the city east of the canal and exerting pressure on Ukrainian defenses. The destruction of canal infrastructure not only facilitates the movement of Russian armored units, but also disrupts local water supplies, potentially impacting both military operations and civilian populations. Well, it seems it did, as local residents of the Volgograd region are in shock, filming the remains of an unidentified UAV.
Ходила и не снимала ничего, блин. А вот это чей бычок?
Это не мой.
Тут уже, наверное, кто-то был.
Ну да. Наверное, беспилотники собрали.
Какие-то вот штуки. Вот тебе и до нас не долетит.
Вон смотри, крыло их.
Да я про него и говорила, что вон в какой окружности. А воронка какая вообще?
Soldiers of the 12th Azov Brigade, in an exclusive interview with Militarny, revealed where they acquired these rare vehicles and how they were modernized at the tank crew request. Navin, the deputy company commander for armament of the 1st Tank Company of the Azov Tank Battalion, shared this information with Militarny. The donor of the heavy equipment for the Guards was the Russian 4th Kantemir Tank Division, which was defeated in the Kharkiv region, and from which the same T-80Us were captured and subsequently restored. These vehicles are the best tanks of the Soviet Union and still have serious potential. But at the Azov Soldiers Initiative, it was decided to modernize their equipment to meet the requirements of the modern battlefield. The project's developers remain secretive, but the brigade funded it independently. The main upgrade to the tanks is a new built-in dynamic armor that covers a larger area of the vehicle. In the middle, it is equipped with new Ukrainian knife elements, which, in addition to protecting against cumulative ammunition, can also neutralize kinetic sub-caliber shells. Most of the feedback on this type of dynamic protection comes from Azov tankers who carried out the most challenging combat missions during the Battle of Mariupol in 2022. Our tanks engaged numerous enemy vehicles, including tanks, various types of infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and anti-tank weapons. Not a single Azov tanker was killed inside a tank, even after a direct hit, says Navin. The tanks were additionally equipped with anti-motion grills and under-turret nets. Behind the turret, a niche was welded to act as a trunk and cover the vulnerable area of the engine compartment, which is often targeted by FPV drones. Other improvements are in store for the 80s. War is becoming more and more digitalized and includes more and more remote warfare capabilities. Barrage shells, drones with drops, FPV. That is why vehicles will be equipped with electronic warfare devices. Anti-drone frames with special nets, the so-called hoods, will also be installed. Some vehicles already have them installed, and some are still waiting for them. Azov tankers appreciate the T-80U for its high mobility and maneuverability. The vehicles are equipped with a gas turbine engine with a capacity of 1,250 horsepower. This is almost twice as much as the old versions of the T-72 or T-64. An important advantage of this tank is its transmission, which allows it to reach high speeds in reverse and quickly leave the firing position after completing the task. In contrast, older Soviet vehicles can reach no more than 5 kilometers per hour in reverse, which forces their tankers to turn aft toward enemy positions for a rapid retreat. Such features are extremely critical on the modern battlefield, where the tactics of using tanks involve their pointed engagement to perform a combat task, after which they immediately withdraw to avoid enemy fire being focused on them.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.